Stampers! Happy Monday morning. Welcome to another Maker Mornings with Meg. I'm Meg from LovenStamps, and today is one of my favorites, a sneak peek. We are going to take a look at the Butterfly Brilliance stamp set and coordinating dies that are going to debut tomorrow. And I know I told you on Friday that they would be out on Monday, but it's not today, it's tomorrow. So hang in there, one more day. But I'm gonna show you one of the 4 projects for LovenStamps monthly tutorials for the month of March. And we are going to make a faux DSP card base card. So on Friday, I showed you guys this sweet snail card. This guy here with the DSP as our card base, which meant that you saw the DSP on both sides. But here's the thing, what about a 6x6 paper, like the gorgeous Bijou butterfly? It is not long enough to make a DSP card base, right? So I'm gonna show you guys how to make a faux one. Good morning, Tanya, Cindy, Trish, Sue, everybody else jumping on who haven't seen yet. All right, so we are also going to talk about the many messages die today, which is stamps and dies, which are going to coordinate for the 4 projects this month. And yeah, you guys ready to get started? Okay, we'll probably be back and forth a little bit because we're going to use our big die cut machine today. All right, so to start off, the Butterfly Bijou paper, first of all, in the description, I've linked this flyer here that has the stamps and the dies, stamps and dies and paper and so forth. It'll be out tomorrow, including the bundle for the stamp and die together at a discount, or you can get the sweet collection all together. But those are linked in the video description. So the paper here is this assortment of gorgeous butterflies. One of our projects is going to make the most of this paper, which matches the dies. But today we're going to start with this piece here of rainbow paper. And I've just cut this to be 4 inches wide. And we're going to save this. The next thing I'm going to do is grab our remaining piece here. And I am going to go ahead and cut the top of this off, or sorry, score the top of this off at 1/2 inch. So I want this to be, is that right? Sorry guys, it's a Monday morning, right? So actually what I want, the front of this is to be 5 1/4. So I'm going to score this here at, I'll use the other end so I can measure and show you. Ooh, cutting blade in the way, 5 1/4. Because if you think about it, that's the size you want your card front to be. So I'm gonna go ahead and score there, okay? All right, now this is gonna get folded back. So we have kind of the start of our card. It's gonna open like this. Now with this remaining piece, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this to 4 inches wide. There we go. Because what I want is I want a strip for the front that's going to reinforce our card. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut this plus or minus in half, so about 1 inch on either side. So now I have a strip, a piece, and our card here, okay? So for our card base, I'm going to use a piece of the Rococo Rose cardstock, and this is cut here to 4 1/4 inches wide by 5 1/2 inches tall, so it's just normal card size. But we're gonna go ahead and mount our flap here on the front just like this, okay? So you want to use a pretty good adhesive for this. Seal Plus would be a good choice, or maybe the tear tape would be good too. Oops, the wrong side, Meg. And I'm gonna put my adhesive right up near the score line. I don't want to go over it, but I want it to be pretty close. And then as I pop this on here, I'm going to line this up so that it is about 1/8 of an inch. It gives us that mirror, or that even edge all the way around, okay? All right, so we have this set. Now we're gonna put a layer on the inside to cover up the fact that we don't have a true DSP card base. And this is going to pop in here like this. And if you find that you got it just a little bit longer, that's fine. You can go ahead and trim it down. So like I did, I'm gonna go ahead and bring this in here and I'm gonna trim this down. And honestly, one of the things I love most about this trimmer is its ability to make little tiny trims, okay? So we're gonna pop this on here, but before I glue it down, we're going to grab our stamp. So here is the Butterfly Brilliant stamp. It's all one piece. And when you ink it, you can use all of it or you can use parts of it. So I'm just gonna use, I think, just this one image here. When I have a stamp this big, I really like to flip it this way and use my pad upside down. So, all right, and then I'm gonna pop a butterfly there on the corner. Okay? All right, so now we have coordinating elements and a great start to our card base. Now there are a couple things you're gonna wanna know about this because one of them is about strengthening the front of our card. So let's get this in here. There we go, perfect. Okay, so one of them is about strengthening the front of our card. When you have a DSP card base, this leading edge here is a little bit not strong. So what I'm gonna do is take one of these strips here and layer this on the front. And again, I'm gonna use some heavy adhesive for this because I wanna make sure that it's really doing its job of supporting our card front. Okay, so we've got that across there. And now we are going to add some elements. So we're gonna go ahead and grab a square of cardstock here on this side. And if you remember kind of what we did with our snail card, we made like a focal point right here, okay? So we're gonna create that focal point again, but we are going to use the butterflies. So this time, I think we're going to use the this butterfly here because it's a nice size for our match kind of. And so this I'm gonna cut from this piece of paper. Now, I know sometimes when people look at this die, they think, oh my gosh, I don't wanna cut all of those butterflies all the time. That's fine, you don't have to. So we're gonna cut just this one. So I'm gonna kind of position like this, all right? And then I'm going to take, I have some extra space on there and there are these two little butterfly dies here. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop them on our paper too. And we're gonna cut just like this. All right, then I also have the overlay for this. So the butterfly die, I'm gonna set this down. The butterfly die that fits over this is this one. So we're gonna cut this one from basic black cardstock so that it is a perfect match over there. So, and that one I've actually done ahead of time. So we have that there, okay? All right, so let's see if we can, without dropping our phone, flip you guys back up here. And I'm going to pop over and die cut here. Now on the, I've been using my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine a whole bunch lately. It will not do what you need for this die because you can't get that die through the little machine. So this one you're gonna want to have the big Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine for. And same for Many Merry Messages, which is the greeting that I'm going to show you this month. So, all right, pop a piece of washi tape on there to hold everything in place and watch it all slide a little. Apparently I needed more washi tape there. And then pop this through. Okay. I'm a right-handed embossing, Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine user, so. All right. So I'm gonna pop this here, and now we have our little butterflies. Oh my goodness gracious. It's a sunny day. I think somebody over here needs to go outside, and we'll see. She'll forget about it for the moment. All right. Okay, I'm gonna bring these back down here, and I'm going to show you this trick too. This paper was trapped inside here. It wasn't just popping out all on its own. So my solution for that is really simple. All I do is just drop my die on my table a couple times gently, and usually that little element pops out. So we got everything here from our little piece of paper. We're gonna set that aside because we're still gonna use that for some embellishments, but we're gonna go ahead and add this on here. Now, I have our butterfly that's gonna fit like this. I'm gonna pop a little bit of multi-purpose liquid glue here on the back, just in the center, so it can kind of have a little bit of pop-up-ness, okay? And then our little butterflies are going to go here and here. Now, kind of like before, I feel like they're just not very well connected to the background. So I'm gonna add this circle layer back in here. And pardon me, my puppy really, really wants to go outside. I'm sure there's something exciting out there. All right. Okay, sorry, I'm back. So this piece of mint macaron here, which is the other color of cocoa rose and mint macaron, I adore with this butterfly set. And I'm gonna pop a circle punch on here with a 2-inch circle punch. And then that is going to give us a focal point here for the background, okay? All right, so we're coming together, but I still feel like we're missing something. I really like this horizontal element here. And so I'm going to bring in a piece of the Specialty Designer Series paper, or specialty paper that is coming out with the butterfly suite. And I don't know if you guys can see very well, it's got this really pretty wood texture on it. And so I'm going to pop some green lid glue on the back, and we're gonna put this as a horizontal element behind here to just sort of continue to draw your eye to this sort of horizontal line down here at the bottom. Okay. All right, so that's gonna pop on there. So we're getting closer. But I feel like these layers aren't very well connected to each other. We have this one with lots of little detail-y holes in it, and then this background here with a lot of visual detail, but not much going on the Rococo Rose layer. So I'm gonna bring in this die, which is one of the 3 background texture-y kinds of dies that are part of this suite. And I'm going to go ahead and pop some texture on here. And for this, I'm just gonna use my mini, because it's handy and close. So we'll swing this out of the way, open it up. For this one, you'd have no problem with this size piece going on here. So I'm gonna pop that die on and slide it through. And then I'm gonna do it one more time so we have a little texture kind of at each corner. And again, I'm just gonna pop that down on my tabletop, just a little fling, and that is going to pop a lot of those little bits out without me having to poke. So eventually I'll have to go through and poke these guys out, but for the moment, that is going to cover us. And stick this back here. All right, so let's bring this back now and try one more time. And I'm not gonna worry too much about whether those elements are, those circles are all popped out or not. Oh, I probably could have put the circles a little bit closer to the corners, but that's okay. All right, so let's pop our circle on here. And then we're going to add our butterfly and our butterfly and our butterfly. Okay, all right, I'm liking how this is coming together. Let's go ahead and pop this up on Stampin' Dimensionals. So I'll grab a couple of these and put a couple on the back. And turn this back over again. All right, let's see, what do we think? Kind of coming together here. But I feel like I want one more little embellishment. I don't really want to add ribbon to this card. So here is the embellishment we're gonna make. We are gonna make some paper banner embellishments. So remember this piece here that I have left over. And remember how I said I really loved how easy it is to cut little slivers with our paper trimmer. So let's put that to use here. I'm gonna pop my paper on here and I'm gonna cut a sliver. And I kind of was joking about this when I was prepping it. It's kind of like the multi-purpose liquid adhesive. I always say if you can see the glue, there's enough there. This little paper strip is kind of the same way. If you can see the paper strip, then there's enough there. So I'm gonna cut 2 of these, and they're like a 1/16 of an inch wide, I guess, if you really need to measure. But if you go with if you can see it, it's enough theory, then you'll be fine. All right, and then I'm gonna grab my, take your pick tool, and if you have the knife blade, it's not a knife really, but this like scooper spatula kind of blade out, you're gonna wanna twist that and turn it so that you have the round part out, the pokey tool. And what I'm gonna do is just pop my finger on the very end of the paper there, and then I'm gonna start to wrap it around. And once you get it wrapped around, then all you have to do is roll it with your finger. So really all I'm doing is going like this and rolling. And as I roll it, cut the circles through. Oh, I'm reading comments too while I'm rolling. Trish says you could cut the circles through both the circle and square layer. Yes, definitely. You definitely could. So I'm gonna roll this until I get this little spiral piece here, okay? So I have one, and then I'm gonna do the same thing for the other. Remember, just kind of trap it to get the first roll started, and then once you got it started, all you have to do is keep spinning it around the tool to roll your paper, okay? And honestly, if you want them to roll flat, you can also butt it up against the white part here. Oops, I let it unroll. Because that will keep it all kind of rolled all together in a row. All right, and if it want it to be tighter, you can roll it again. I kind of like the way these are, just a little bit like this. So, all right, so now I love these little spirals because they're like a little ribbon embellishment, but they're not ribbon, and they sort of convey that feeling of motion. And so let's see what happens if we pop these underneath our little butterfly here and give it some little extra elements. Let's see, let's try switching these to be here and here, and then pop this guy out the side. All right. I'm working hard at doing this popping up thing here. Okay, there we go. All right, so kind of, yeah, something like that. Now, honestly, the easiest way to stick these down is to just go ahead and grab those Stampin' Dimensionals again and just go, yep, that's where I want it right there. And pop it on with an end of a Stampin' Dimensional. Let's see, I might open this one up a little bit so that it's a little more open. There we go. And then pop this one. I really want it to be kind of on the side. And then pop that on with another Stampin' Dimensional. So really so much easier to adhere these with just hiding the adhesion part under Stampin' Dimensional. And Cindy said quilling. Yes, we are totally doing paper quilling. Really kind of fun. And something like this that's so flat doesn't really, it's super easy to mail. You don't have to worry about getting squashed because paper rolls that small are very, very, very sturdy. So. All right, so let's pop our butterflies on here. I'm just gonna put them kind of in the background. So I'm not gonna put them on dimensionals where I might otherwise, because I want them to kind of be a little bit on the, like the background of our attention here. So now we have our elements settled here with our butterfly and our two layered, and really using both sides of this DSP for its prettiness. Okay, so we need a greeting on this card, right? And an embellishment, because we really can't go wrong with the embellishments. So for our greeting, like I said, we are going to use the Many Messages stamp set this month because Butterfly Brilliance doesn't have any greetings, and this one has a zillion. So this is from the January through June mini catalog, and it also comes as one giant stamp. And I showed the other day, just super briefly, a version that you can stamp, just go ahead and ink the whole thing in Memento Black and stamp it on Whisper White. But we're gonna do a little bit of heat embossing because I saw at least one comment that somebody hadn't done any for a while. My first tip is to close all your ink pads. I know, Tanya, this will make you happy. I'm closing all the ink pads. Close all your ink pads because you do not want embossing powder to get into your inks, okay? That little bit of particulate is a pain to get off, and then it's grainy and messy. So we're just gonna kind of keep everything closed. And then I'm gonna teach you how to emboss. Let's see, checking comments. Sue says it needs sparkle. I agree, there's sparkle coming, don't worry. And Sandy says, good morning. Hi, good morning, Sandy. Okay, so this is my Versamark pad. Don't gasp, it's messy. This is what happens if you get little bits of stuff in it over the years, little bits of embossing powder and so forth. It still works. You can still re-ink the parts that are not all stained. And when you're using it for embossing, especially with white powder on black, anything goes. It doesn't really matter. So again, with the big stamps, ink upside down. So I'm just gonna keep marching my pad across. I'm gonna tap, tap, tap. And with Versamark, you wanna make sure that you have a really good amount of ink on there. Not soupy, but a good amount. So I'm just gonna, I'm standing up if my voice sounds different. I'm gonna just sort of look at the sheen of the ink on the stamp to make sure that it looks like everything is getting covered, okay? All right, can you guys you can kind of see that, I think, in the video even. And then I'm gonna bring in my black cardstock and I am going to go ahead and stamp. All right, I'm gonna use some muscle to make sure I get a really good contact here, and I'm going to cover my Versamark pad here. Now, you can do this on your surface, but honestly, I think the easiest thing to do is to just bring in a new piece of scratch paper that you just are ready to throw away, okay? And you can see the Versamark maybe has just a little bit of sheen to it. You can use this to do watermarking and so forth. It's a cool pad, but you usually can't see it a ton. And then I'm just gonna pour my powder on the top. And honestly, you pour the whole jar out. It's all gonna go back in here, so feel free to just use it up. And then I'm going to tap around so that the powder is evenly spaced over my stamp. All right, now here is a lesson for you. If you have a finger that's super oily and you press it down on your cardstock, you're gonna have a problem where you end up with a messy thing like this. So unfortunately, there's not a lot we can do with that. You can grab your, a little paintbrush. You could grab a little paintbrush is actually a great thing to keep handy. And you can brush off some of the stray powder. With embossing powder, I usually give it a really good flick from the back to knock off all the extra possible. All right, so let's see if we're gonna clean this up. I don't know if I have my paintbrush here. I don't, so we're just not gonna worry about it. But that's what happens when you have like a big oily finger spot on your cardstock. Now, there is an embossing buddy that you can use. I don't think Stampin' Up! Has one right now, but what you would want to do is grab like a rosin bag from bowling. It's rosin that is what is in there. So if you look around for a rosin bowling bag, a rosin packet for bowling that keeps your fingers dry, that's what you're gonna use. All right, I'm trying to save one of these. There we go. All right. So now the next thing to do is to put my powder away. So there's 3 steps in embossing. When I teach this, I always say there's 3 steps. The first step is to stamp with Versamark. You need sticky ink. The second step is to add the powder. And I am going to put one more piece of scrap paper underneath here as I pour this back in. And yes, you can save this, but honestly, it just is kind of asking for a mess in your ink pad. So I usually kind of save my scratch and then throw it away one at a time. Okay, so first step, Versamark. Second step, powder, the embossing powder. And third step is your heat tool, okay? If you haven't embossed before, this is totally not like a hairdryer. It's very, very hot. When I first started with Stampin' Up, the heat tool that we had at the time in our catalog came with directions for stripping paint, okay? So that kind of gives you an idea of what we're talking about here. The Stampin' Up heat tool has 2 different settings, and I usually use mine on full blast. And there are lots of theories about embossing and how to do it best. Whatever works for you is my tip for you. But what I like to do is just point. You're basically heating the powder and the cardstock underneath it until the powder melts. And you don't have to worry too much. Versamark stays wet for a very long time. So you don't have to worry that you're gonna run out of time or anything. And I don't know if you guys can see, with white powder, it's not as obvious, but it goes from being powdery to beautifully embossed, and it'll pop up. Now it's really tempting to want to like wipe your hand across there to make sure that it's dry. Well, not dry, to make sure that it's melted. And you can, but honestly, I'd be really sure that everything is melted before you start to do that, because once you've wiped your finger across it, there's really no going back. You also want to make sure that your fingers are well out of the way. You'll notice that my free hand is nowhere near the embossing tool. It is, like I said, very, very hot. You do not want to burn yourself. If you have a little tiny piece of paper, hold it with a pair of tweezers, preferably ones that aren't going to transfer the heat from the metal all the way up your fingers. But you want to be careful with this. And also, a word of warning, if you have Formica countertops like the ones that I have right here, then you do not really want to set your heat embossing right on the countertop, because If you do over and over again heat embossing, you can actually melt the glue that is holding the Formica to your countertop, and you can end up with little bubbles. So I just hold it in the middle of the air. Honestly, it heats the fastest that way because you're just heating the cardstock. You're not trying to heat the surface underneath it. And I know that I'm not going to use these areas, but I don't really want that stray powder everywhere, so I'm going to go ahead and heat this element too. So, hi Pam. Glad we have North Carolina represented this morning. And Trish says heat embossing always wows her. I agree. Okay, I think we're pretty good. You can kind of shift it in the light a little bit to make sure it's all good, and then go ahead and make sure we're powder free. Hooray, we are. Okay, so now the die that goes with the many messages set is the messages die, and it is one die that fits all these pieces. So what you want to do is turn it until it matches. There we go. And then here is my hint for you. The place to line up is these 4 heart and star elements, okay? If you can line those elements up, then you will find that the rest of your dies will cut beautifully. And so that puts us right there like that. So you can see how all these are going to cut out. Fortunately, I have one that is already cut out, so I have a couple messages set up for these. And when you cut all those, you're gonna end up with a bunch. I just put them in a little clear envelope like this and tuck this in the stamp case with my stamp, so that if I can just open it up and pull out a greeting that I already have done, then I don't have to stamp that time. It is a really great set of greetings though. So, all right, we wanna put this kind of over here to the side. I feel like this one's a little bit wide. So this one's definitely too wide, but here's a trick for it. I'm going to take my paper snips here and go ahead and cut that greeting. There we go. So now we have the perfect size and shape greeting for our card, okay? So sending a smile your way. And I'm gonna go ahead and pop those. You know what? I'm gonna just go ahead and do it with glue. You could put them on dimensionals too. They're pretty thin, so you might have to trim even an edge piece, but. All right, so sending a smile. There we go. And it turns out we're covering up a lot of our textured circles, but I think having them there is still good. I like them. All right, your way. And as always with multi-purpose liquid glue, you want to go ahead and give it a moment to dry before you mess around too much. All right, oh, you know what? This is actually perfect for us. We can put this on the middle of our card. Oh, see, we have Oregon and Georgia joining us too. Hi, GNK. All right, so this we're gonna put on the inside, and you know what? I'm gonna go a little bit crazy and put a dimensional on the inside of our card. I think it won't hurt things. So, but I like these little pop-up greetings inside. Okay, and I promised some bling, so I'm going to bring back here another one of my clear envelopes. I use these all the time, sometimes for cards and a lot of times for storage of things like our greetings, and also for our sequins. So these are the Artistry Bloom sequins, and the bright pink ones, the subtle yellow ones. You know what, we're going bright. So I'm going to pop a couple of these on here. Let's see, pop one maybe down here, and a little small one kind of here by our greetings. And then one more, because I like to do things in threes. We'll kind of do up here towards the other side of our embellishment, so our focal point there. All right, so this is the first of the cards from the Butterfly Brilliance Suite, which is a sneak peek from the new catalog, and it comes out tomorrow, Tuesday, May 2nd. And the feature I'm going to do this month is actually going to be for 4 projects from this stamp set. So here is one of the other projects that we're going to do as a tutorial. And if you place any size order in my online store during the month of March, you'll get the 4 PDF tutorial for the 4 video tutorials that I'm going to show you, the 4 projects here for these guys. If you place a $50 order, then you actually get a card kit in the mail. And if you ordered in February, card kits are going out this week. But you get a card kit, and it'll have the supplies that you need to make these 2 cards included, including the die cutting and everything done for you, sequins and so forth. Then other tutorials this month, we're going to do this butterfly card here, which features the designer series paper and that gorgeous nature's Touch specialty paper. And the ta-da card, okay. We're gonna do an updated pop-up box card here that features all of the amazing things that we're doing, heat embossing, die cutting, paper curling, quilling, all kinds of things to do a pop-up box card. So those are the 4 projects for the month of March that I'll be showing you. So you can watch those videos on Maker Mornings with Meg. You can check them out on my YouTube channel, and they will also appear as blog posts eventually. So hi Cindy. Yeah, so those will be a lot of fun. If you're looking for the supplies for today's card, you can check tomorrow. I'll have all of them for you. So there's a little disconnect between me linking supplies that haven't been listed for sale yet. But you can look and see those 4 projects that I just showed you are all showcased on my website, LovenStamps.com, and then you're gonna wanna look for the Card Kits to Go tab. It's also linked in the description here, and you can click on there and see all 4 of these projects that I'm gonna showcase for you. So do you guys wanna see some other Butterfly Brilliance cards? I don't know, I've showed you 4 already. I'll show you some other ones real fast. This is one that has been done. I did this one in Bermuda Bay. This one is a very similar card, but I used the greetings from Nature's Touch, which is a tree stamp set from the annual catalog. This one is a real simple card that I did as part of a demonstrator stamping event, a mystery stamping event that we did online at a demonstrator meeting, which was a lot of fun. So there's that. And this one, kind of a similar one, just a different color take on this card here. So kind of lots of possibilities. Really, there are so many ideas here. And Carol says she liked the heat embossing demo. Yeah, I don't heat emboss all of that often, but honestly, when I do, it's because there is no better solution. And this greeting, so here's another version of this card that I did with that other greeting. It really is made, I think, by having this dark contrast here. There you go. This dark contrast here with the white heat embossing on the greeting. If we had done this in white, with a white greeting spot with black ink on it, it just wouldn't quite have that same impact. So that heat embossing is a really great tool to add to a lot of your projects. So, all right, guys, it's Monday. It's sunny where I am. I hope that you had a wonderful weekend and that you have a great day too. I will be back tomorrow to share another project with you. I think, because the butterfly set is starting tomorrow, I think we'll probably do another butterfly card tomorrow. So anyway, thanks so much for joining me. And if you have any questions, as always, let me know. And I look forward to stamping with you again tomorrow. So thanks, guys. Have a great day.